Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. I hope you are doing well today. Thank you for joining us on Fantasy Football Sevens. This is a podcast about your team, about your league, and it's all for a great benefit for Kawasaki's disease. Like I said, my daughter had it. We got this wristband, got the Humpty Dumpty, got the worried look. So if you see some symptoms with your kid, there is some COVID relation. If you see any kind of symptoms, don't hesitate to reach out to your doctor, your pediatrician, whatever you go to. And make sure it's not that, because it's the leading acquired heart disease and developed nation. So if you're watching this, you're probably in the developed nation. So it's important to keep going. This week I got a very special guest, somebody that since he's been joining, I've been following his content. He's posting a lot. He's very knowledgeable. He's very passionate. Welcome to the show, Mase. How you doing today, my friend?
Good, Iggy, man. It's been a while. I mean, we talk almost all the time now because of the league and whatnot. I'm very thankful for that. Thank you for having me on. Very stoked to be here, bro.
Yeah, man, tell people where they can find you and get some of this knowledge, because you're like very cutting edge and on top of it. You went to a day at 49ers camp. People need to know where to follow you and find your writings and everything.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I currently just joined the IDP Army, so I'll be having content weekly, hopefully coming out on that, aside from just guesting on podcasts and appearance whenever my kids allow me to. But as of right now, it's just the IDP Army, and then catch me on Twitter at CaliKing49er17, like it says on the screen.
There we go. Yeah, he's got it uploaded. Make sure you go follow those accounts. IDP RB. I love Jordan. I love those guys. So I'm glad you're over there with them now. Yeah, dude. So let's break it down a little bit, Mase. Let's before we get too much into your team, man, I can see the USC. I can see the 49ers memorabilia back there. Why don't you break it down for me and even tell me like how you became a 49ers fan, how long you've been playing fantasy, why you love football, kind of just your football relationship about yourself.
Yeah, for sure. So the first football game I ever watched was a Vikings game. I really liked the color purple growing up. And then like 2 weeks later, the Niners rolled into town and just dusted them off. And I'm pretty sure I saw Murphy Hanks do his chicken man dance after he got an interception. And dude, I saw that and I was straight hooked, man. Just looking back today, I saw he was a 5th round pick out of Iowa. And it's just, I don't know, it just blows my mind that even back then, someone that late in the draft, could have that much of an impact on my life. Even now looking from IDP, man, I wish I would have had him. I was looking at his stats. He had multiple years over 5 interceptions and stuff. But, I love the 49ers, man. I got the signed Deebo Samuel thing behind me. I was a USC fan, I guess, just growing up because of Matt Leinart and Reggie Bush. I got Matt Leinart Sports Illustrated 55-19 autographed on the wall over here too, man. So I'm just a Cali boy through and through, NorCal. And I love football, man. I started IDP, actually. Well, I started writing during COVID. My fiance was just like, you need something to do, man. And I'm sick of you talking to me about football, because I already made her join our family league, which she actually ended up winning. But she's like, I'm over it, man. Like, you need an outlet. Like, go do something via Twitter. So I did. And my buddy Murph from 5 Yard Rush, he challenged me and was like, dude, what do you suck at? Like, write about something you suck at and gain knowledge. And I was like, holy crap, dude, I'm not good at IDP. I just traded Ryan Kerrigan, or I traded TJ Watt away for Ryan Kerrigan. It was like 2019, 2020. It's very tough. Kerrigan was just, I knew him because my brother is a Redskins fan. Looking back, bro, just completely horrible. It was a dynasty league, not a good trade. I had no idea what I was doing. So kudos and a huge shout out to Murph for getting me out of my shell and getting me onto something else. But ever since then, it's just been like wildfire. I've just had a hunger and a knowledge. I've been looking at the other side of the TV now when I watch games. I know a lot more about players. It's helping me understand defenses, why offenses do certain things, the timing of the quarterback. It just really unravels itself, man. So much to the point that now I'm, looking at over the cap and spot rack every day to check people's cap status and see what, maybe the Niners could do or anything like that. So it's just, I don't know, it's been a ride, and it's something that I like to do now in my spare time. And now it's just a part of my life.
Nice, dude. Yeah, you hit on it, Murph, man. I like to compare Murph to just like, he's like a magician or something, man. Like he's Yoda, he's like one of the nicest people, but then when you compete against him, he's like cutthroat. There's no mercy, like he's going to be bringing it all times. What's up, Pike? I want to give a shout out to Pike.
Yeah, Pike, dude.
Pike, Murph and I met by being Warrior Bowl finalists. I didn't know. I lucked into that. I didn't have a good record, but I put up a lot of points. And we were the OGs in there, and that's how I met into those guys. Like I said, so dropping a lot of names, man. And I, it's a lot of fun. But, I appreciate you breaking it down. And Murph, you got that knowledge. Go and prove something that you're good at. I grew up watching film, so I loved watching defensive side of the ball. In fact, for my pack attack show, I'll break down, I watch the film, take my notes, and talk about it right before this one. And when the Chiefs scored on it, just a wide open, I had to go back and watch the coverage. It's like, was it miscommunication? It was actually great offensive play scanning. They baited the corner with him up top, and the safety was drawn over to the trips on the left, and it just left this open seam. And I was just like, man, dude, so I'll break it down. Like, why did that work? Why did, because most of the time you can see miscommunication. People will start pointing and being like, you can tell by the verbal, you can see by not hearing it that something went wrong. But, you're right. Playing IDP will make you such a better offensive player. People don't realize that. Understanding this team's on their cornerback 4, and it's not even being talked about. Let's go get this slot line receiver. Let's go get this second receiver this week. Yep. And, I'm also a bettor. A lot of my content's betting. And if you pay attention to the defensive side of the ball, there's so much more of an advantage of what's going on. Your football knowledge, like you said, you got a thirst for knowledge, man. And it's if you want to break down the defensive side of the ball, it's going to improve your entire football IQ from both standpoints, offense, defense, just the knowledge of the game, man. And like I said, I've been playing with IDPs over 12 years now, man, and it's really difficult for me not to want to play with IDPs. But it was really cool enough to say that. Are y'all playing with any IDPs in your family league, or is it like more of a standard thing? Or
well, my buddy that wrote at 902, my buddy Josh, what's up, dog? He's in the league that first started with IDP. There's 6 spots, 2 defense, you can put anything, 2 DBs, and then 2 defensive linemen. So it also creates a thirst where you have to understand where you're going to put people, what the point scoring is. And with the way the IDP is, what I think a lot of people are drawn away, or what puts them off, is that there's no guideline for basic scoring. There's not a PPR yet that's established, or a half-point PPR or anything like that. It's some people have crazy rules, some people have true position, some people have they're getting into best ball stuff now. So it's just too wild. But just since 2017, 2018, I think is how long.
Okay. And people complain. It's hard to get the IDP community to unify. You can't even the hashtag. Is it FFIDP? Is it IDP? But I celebrate diversity. I don't look at that as a bad thing. Set up that league, go play in it. I played in IDP leagues where you just set one guy. I was like, well, okay, let's go run it. We're in fantasy football sevens. You got to have 6 every week. You can stack it with your defense. You can get amazing points from your defense and your IDPs. And TJ Watt gets a sack, strip, fumble, and you have the Steelers defense. Man, he just got so many points right there stacked together. And I think there is a correct way to do it. I'm always going to say my way, but IDP 1, 2, 3 from the Army or any of those guys, just go out there and play IDP. And I think it is, that's where the backlash is if somebody gets an IDP league. It's it sucks. They're just my last picks. They're kind of pointless. We got to get it out of that mold. But speaking of, man, let's go ahead and bring up your roster here, dude. And why don't you kind of talk about fantasy football sevens? Because our draft, you know what I'm saying? Once we started our draft, our league particularly just outlaw, man. You better be tuning in. I told you about it. You better be tuning in. And but he started just taking the IDPs early, man. Just Micah Parsons, TJ Watt, here they go, Devin White. I was just woof. So in our league, you kind of had to come with it a little bit more. Let me see if I can. I'm gonna full screen it. Maybe it'll get a little bigger. Oh, that doesn't help us any. Let's go ahead and take it down. You kind of remember the draft itself. It was a long draft. You remember who your first pick was?
Yeah, so I wrote him down here. My first pick was Kyler. I think I was 7th or 8th towards the end. There was a quarterback run. Aaron Rodgers went early. He went before Kyler Murray did, so I didn't really know what to expect. I wanted to get someone that had that Konami code kind of sort of deal. And this, I wasn't really, I don't know, it's my first time doing this, so I'm not really sure about the score, and I kind of want to tread lightly. So I took a comfortable blanket pick, I guess, first with Kyler, and then I ran it back with Mixon because I have Mixon as my RB1 this year.
Okay. Yeah, no, I love Murray, man. I get him a lot in best ball, especially in a super flex league like this. You got that week 13 bye. At that point, when we drafted, there was no clue who the week 13 QB was going to be for Carolina. So, and then now you're just set. Every other, I feel like in a super flex league, you draft another one. You have that week 13 bye with the QB you really like. Set, But yeah, you went after that. Still some pretty good offensive players in this IDP quick league. I love Cooks. You got T. Higgins, it looks like. We went with the interesting choice with Waller, man, for tight end in your flex, which is really, I think that's kind of one of the beauties of this league because it's so deep with 16 teams. But you don't have to start a tight end. But if you grab an elite one, it's all of a sudden your flex position is completely took care of for the season, more or less. Would you like to talk about Waller? And do you remember when you took him and just what you think about him for the season?
Yeah, I took him in the 5th round. He's kind of dangling around. Should I have waited? Probably, but those IDPs were going off, like you said, so early. I knew that maybe I should jump on a tight end, just take one of the top ones, not have to worry about the flex, like you said. Maybe pick up a streaker that I could put in for the bye week or something later on. But I think Waller with Devontae Adams coming in, the safety's going to be pulled over to Adams' side every time. So, I mean, yeah, Renfro's going to get the yak and whatnot, but Waller's going to be a beast in the red zone. And I really like the touchdown upside.
Well, he said that Josh McDaniels has specifically told him that they're going to plan for him in the red zone more because it's always kind of been the knock on Waller. He doesn't really have a lot of touchdowns. He does several catches, several yards, but the red zone, that was just kind of the Raiders' mantra as a whole. They just had broke down in the red zone, hence why Daniel Carlson was so well last year. So I just think it's a good pick if it pans out. Like I said, it just adds so much depth that you can bring to your running backs and wide receivers now because your flex is taken care of. Let's talk about this double down you got. You and I, we completed a trade, and you had Trey Lance in your super flex, man. And keep in mind, we started this draft over a month ago, so the Trey Lance hype wasn't quite where it is right now. But we completed the trade. I wanted Rashawn Gary so bad you took him from me, So yeah, you took Rashawn Gary from me. So I sent you probably 5 or 6 trades before we finally agreed on something. And let's talk about the 49ers a little bit before we get into your IDPs, man. Let's talk about how you feel about Ayuk. I was really high on him. Obviously, I drafted him early. But how you feel about Trey Lance and the 49ers as a whole? Being such a good team, do you think Lance is going to be the difference maker for them, or what do you expect?
So the big thing for me was my boy Jason Aponte. He follows the Niners and covers them very, very well. Sprint Right podcast, check it out. He was just talking to me about Ayuk and how he was beast mode, and because he knew I was coming to training camp, so I was going to go all around him. And dude, I went there and I saw Ayuk come down with a handful of like one-on-one ball, just getting after it, almost like Debo style, dude. And he looks super hungry this year, man. And I really feel like Debo, for the cost that he goes currently in drafts, I'd much rather have Ayuk for the upside of that fact. And I love Trey Lance. I've liked him since North Dakota State. You watch his tape back then, and you're just like, wow. With the way Kyle Shanahan is with quarterbacks, if Trey Lance ends up panning out to be half the quarterback that he is for like what people think he's going to do for the Niners, he's going to be amazing for fantasy. So I had to take that risk in the 3rd round and pick him up as a super flex, because if Waller doesn't work out, then now I have Ayuk and I can slot him in for maybe 5 or 6 weeks, especially towards the end of the year. That's when Ayuk really gets hot. So it's kind of what I was banking on there. I do like Gary a lot, though. He's like kind of the unsung hero of that Packers defense. I feel like he's got so many pressures, man. He's on par. I think it was like 76 or 79 or something. So I really didn't want to get rid of him, especially with your Packers stack. But I have a Bengals stack going on. So I have Hendrickson, so I could afford to let Gary go to you.
Yeah, man. Like I said, we'll get to the IDPs. How was training camp? How was that experience? That's something I've never had. I know you got to take your son, I believe, and y'all got to go together. So, I mean, I imagine it was just, is it cool? Or like, yeah, break that down for us real quick.
Yeah, so the first time I ever went was in 2018. That was George Kittle's 2nd season, I believe. So I got an autograph from him, so it kind of gave me like the fever to do it again, man. So the tickets were only like $5 or $10, I think, and they go to charity. So we ended up going there. It was super easy. The shuttle was great. Everyone around us was dope. There's actually a Seahawks fan behind us, and he was kind of talking down for a minute, and we like turned around and started messing with him. A guy with the Raiders jersey came in. Everyone was all booing him and stuff, but it was all playful, man. Players came up and were talking. It was a great scene, man. They had music playing. I don't know. The kid had fun. It was a good time. It was a really unique experience. I'll say that.
Yeah, man, that's something I definitely would like to take advantage of. Not too many people practice pretty close to where I live, but maybe one day I'll be able to check that out. Yeah, dude, I think the 49ers will be good. Just to wrap it up. I was not as big of a Trey Lance person at first, and then like for my best ball, I went and got like 15 shares of him because I was just like, that's the ceiling's there if we want it. So I do think that's a beautiful stack, particularly in this league where it's really difficult to get a lot of stacks. Particularly something high like a Lance Ayuk. You're going to have to draft you're going to have to spend a lot of draft capital to get that.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and move it on to what we really want to talk about here. A little bit of the IDP action, man. I look at your linebackers as the first thing that's, kind of jump off the board to me right away. Perryman goes so unnoticed. I think he's going to have an excellent year, a chance to get back to some prominence, stay injury-free. He's got a great defensive line. He's got great edge pressure coming off. So if he can just kind of hold up that middle, I think he's going to have a fantastic season. Week 6 bye, I like that. Wilson, let's just hope he can get back to full health. You know, he was a pretty good anchor. Kind of the same thing. He's got Hendrickson, but you have Eno as well, and then he has Hubbard on the outside, locking down the edges, and then Jesse Bates coming back, Von Bell. So he can really just focus on his task. That's how I look at linebackers. You know, like Gary. You know, look at all the talent around him. I think Green Bay has the best defensive line in football. You know, so he doesn't have to worry about any of those interior holes. He doesn't have to worry about a run coming through the B gap, and he's out wide. He can kind of focus exclusively what he's supposed to do, and he hits hard. He controls the line. Like everything I read about him in camp is great. But you know, like to bring it back to Perryman and Wilson, like you said, you got the Bengals defense, Hendrickson, Wilson. So you got that triple burger going on right now. And if Burrow doesn't, you know, if Burrow's not up to pace, if that rhythm is a little off with that offense, guess what? That defense is going to have to carry a lot of that weight. So there could be more volume there for a lot of your players. And you have McPherson. You know, if that rhythm doesn't work out, you can just have a kicker as well, who I think is great. So you got like a 4 burger. You got a 4 patty right there. And then looking at your other IDP, you got Al-Hashir and linebacker. Is he going to be starting for sure, right?
Yeah, I believe so. I'm not too keen on what's going to happen with Greenlaw. I got to talk to some of my buddies that cover the Niners. But Al-Shaair was in the starting lineup next to Warner when I was out there at training camp, and that guy looks ready to go, dude. He looks like a machine.
Nice, dude. All right. See, that's the advantage of having just a little bit of insight. Try to talk to some people, follow a beat writer you like. If you got some friends in the industry like Mase, hit them up, and then you get the training camp look. Like I said, you can't beat your own perception. I'm really big about having conviction in fantasy football. You see something, you believe it, stand for it. I like that you did that, man. Like I said, moving up to your D-line, linebacker, DB, you got Kirst in the backfield. Bolton, I think, is going to have another excellent year. It could be another high-volume tackle year. And then Hendrickson, like we've talked about already. So anytime Hendrickson gets a sack, he's had over double digits, 3 years in a row now, since going back to the Saints. So he's not a big tackle guy, but I think he had a streak of like 6 games with at least a sack last year or something like that. I have to, just on the top of my head, I have to kind of go back and look at that because I remember thinking, man, if he doesn't get the sack a game, what's he doing? But he does. He's such a big guy. He's so underrated. I think people attributed a lot of his success to Cameron Jordan being opposite of him, but I don't think that's the case. You know, I'm interested to see what Davenport's going to do this year when we talk about the Saints. But from a Hendrickson standpoint, he's going to get a 12-sack year. It's just almost automatic this year. And if the Bengals can play with a positive game script, something a lot of people don't think about in the IDP community. Like you hear some in the offensive side of the community, but which defense is going to be playing with the lead, and the team is going to be forced to pass a lot on third down. If you can get those edge rushers, like I think Green Bay will, I think the Bengals have a good chance, particularly in the late half of the season once Burrow's really in rhythm. Man, you got all this advantage. Now you have more opportunities to make that big play, which in this league you get the points for the sack, you get the point for the QB hit, you get the point for the tackle for loss, and you get a point for the tackle. So, I mean, it's a big play, you know, and if you get that double down with your defense, it's just going to hurt. You're going to hurt people when you play him if he gets that sack, man. Real quick, looking at it, you just picked up Phillips, right, who I believe I had at one point, and I dropped him, but I love his dual designation. You know, like I said, I drafted him. I think he's going to make a big step this year. How do you feel about Phillips? How do you feel about the Dolphins defense as a whole?
They just have the new coaching scheme, so it was more so just a pickup of a dual designation guy. I had 1 or 2 other guys in mind that I'm still monitoring that are on the wire, one of which that I drafted in Joe Tryon. I'm just not really sure if his snaps are going to start off, but I think that Phillips will. So if I see anything from Phillips, I can just keep him on the bench, possibly use him as trade bait to someone that needs a flyer. I mean, I don't really have high hopes for anyone aside from Brandon Jones, I believe, on Miami's defense, the defensive back. I'm like hoping that he finishes top 10 this year.
Yeah, man, it's kind of a big anomaly. I was really high on Jerome Baker. He busted for me last year. You know, Christian Wilkins will come in and have some huge games for you, but if he can take advantage of the line. But it is interesting. But I do think Phillips, I mean, look at his sack total. He had 8 last year. You know, if he can improve on that, you're talking about major threats. The Dolphins, I don't know about Tua. I'm so torn about Tua and what he can do and what he can't do. I do believe in McDaniels. You know, I've said this for a long time now. Kyle Shanahan is the best coach in the NFC. He's hands down the best coach in the NFC. I'm interested to see how this transfers from other people. Like McVay's had success, you know. LaFleur's had success. You know, there's these people that have had success off of his tree, and I'm really interested to see how it pans out for the Dolphins because AFC East is kind of like Bills and then okay, who wants another piece of the action?
Right.
You know? So, real quick, let's talk about your division. You're in the Machete Division, playing Keith Ruth. You're playing Phil, which is the Southeast Sailor, and then Outlaw Commish is very active. Looks like you're going to have a pretty, you guys are going to be going back and forth. You start with Outlaw to kind of go out. He's kind of a fun guy to have a banter with. That's kind of the fun of fantasy football, being engaging. You're going to end and start and end the year against Commish. How are you feeling with your matchup so far against him? Have you looked at that?
Not really. I'm just more so trying to look at the gaps in my roster and try to get away from all the rookie wide receivers that I have and hope that it doesn't bite me. Week to week, it is what it is. I kind of just let the chips fall where they are. I am kind of a projections guy, though, so seeing that projection does give me warm and fuzzy, but then he's also missing his flex position there, and I'm not really sure if he's going to go Mills or if he's going to go with Tua. So he's got a running back missing as well. So.
Yeah, he's got a running back missing. I'm looking at that. Looks like it's big Eagles. He's got Hurts in the Eagles defense.
Yeah, he's been making a lot of moves too as well. So you never really know with Outlaw, man. I joined one of his dynasty leagues this year, and like you said, man, that dude's a firecracker. He'll light up a room. He's got knowledge. He's funny as heck. He's a good dude. I just hope that I can beat him at least once, so I don't have to hear it all offseason.
Actually, you're starting off against K. Ruth, and he is the guy making a lot of this. But you will play everybody in your division twice. Everybody watching Fantasy Football 7, you will be playing your division twice. I think that's the beauty of it. You're going to create some rivalries. But yeah, man, let's talk about some. I didn't. This kind of off the. I didn't prepare you for this, but let's talk about some IDP breakout candidates that you think might be breaking out this year. You have any other?
Can we talk about some rookies? I guess.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm all about it. I don't discriminate.
Okay. So my buddy Nick, who's in that home league of mine that I was talking about a little bit earlier, put me onto a guy named Nick Cross out of Maryland, and I watched this film, and it really just looked like not like a lack of passion, but someplace he wouldn't really go. But when he would give 100%, the dude was going to be nasty. Well, he ends up going to Indianapolis, and we all know everything that happened there. So I feel like he could get upwards of 700 snaps. So if you're in a deep league and he was out there and you were able to get him in the 5th or 6th or maybe even 8th round of conjoined league, you might have just hit gold on that one. Brisker as well for the Bears, great safety, dude. He looks amazing. I know he was probably going up against twos. He got a lot of time. He looks very comfortable on the field. I think if not this year, definitely next year, dynasty leagues, he is going to be very efficient going forward. Quay Walker, another guy that can stretch the field that I saw in preseason, man, going left and right, covering guys out of the backfield. A little afraid that he'll leave the center of the field open. But, you guys run 2 linebacker sets. And I don't think Campbell was out there some of the time when he was out there as well. But he looks hungry, and he looks like he might get after it. And then, of course, Aiden Hutchinson, who looked like he did fairly well. I think Tavon Walker looked decent as well. Him and Josh Allen should be a solid combo. But yeah, I don't know. Breakout. I hope Max Crosby does better. Of course, sleeper formats though, and Yahoo, because on MFL I think he's only a linebacker, so I'm not really going after that. Some of the MFL changes were a little too spicy for me. Bobby Wagner. Bobby Wagner's always been a good linebacker, but I'm not really sure how many linebackers the Rams are going to be rolling out every play or what they're going to be doing. But I do know that Wagner will be on the field for most of them. Also, I do like Jay on Curse. I think he's getting the green dot for the Cowboys from defensive back. Yeah. So that means Micah Parsons might be playing more line, do you think? If he's not going to have it anymore, I'm not really sure. I'll have to double check on that. But last time I checked, I'm pretty sure that Curse got it. So if he is on the field a lot, he's going to be in the center of the mix a lot. I like him as well. I've been getting him later in a lot of drafts as well. So
I like Dan Quinn a lot. I really trust him from the defensive standpoint.
He loves safeties.
Yeah. Did you think? What about Rodrigo? Have you watched any of Hard Knocks? Do you think there's a lot of
I was going to say him. Oh, dude. Dan Campbell's going to start Alex Anzalone. That's how you say his name. Yeah. It is what it is. So of course, I love Rodriguez. I have him in a couple dynasty leagues myself. I also like Samuel Womack. He's going to be nickelback for the Niners. Michael Clemens, defensive end, a deep guy. I think he's drafted the 4th or 5th round. Dude, stacked, man. I'll send you a video of him interviewing, and you're just like, whoa, bro! This guy, he's going to be a nice depth piece going forward. And then Jack Jones, the cornerback for the Patriots.
Oh yeah, somebody's going to have to step up.
Yeah, someone's going to have to step up, and I feel like he's going to be tested a lot. So if you are in a true position league, man, definitely look at Jack Jones.
Yeah, man, those are all great names. I've been really big on Isaiah Simmons. When I went to the expo last summer, this huge IDP heads kind of talked me out of it. And then I was like, I went back and watched a little old film on him. I was like, man, he's just too much of a monster. And they're trying to say he's going to cover on outside receivers. I was like, man, I just don't see it. Like, I know in camp they said he lined up against DeAndre Hopkins. I think he's a Y guy. I think he's going to cover good tight ends. You got Kittle, you got Higbee, you got Fant just in the division. Those are all great route runners, regardless of what people say about anything else that they like. I mean, their volume, they're still running routes when they're not catching balls. You got to have somebody cover them. I think Simmons is going to come in the box. If Golden can stay healthy, that second-year player, I can't think of his name right now, on the defensive line.
Najee Sanders.
Yeah.
Well.
I mean, they got Budda Baker still. They got Thompson, who's good. They got Collins. I mean, it's a very stacked defense. And the reason I say Simmons is because Cliff is going to keep playing at his pace. They're gonna push the ball. They're going to be a high volume offense, or they're going to try to be quick pace. But sometimes those that work out. Now all of a sudden you've gone 3 and out and you've killed 50 seconds of actual clock. Well, the defense is going to have to cover that gap. I think there's going to be a high volume for a lot of the Arizona players. So that's why I'm kind of high on Simmons, man. You mentioned Quay Walker. I watched him on film. I think he's definitely going to start. There's not much depth after, there's Barnes, who's really good, actually. He looked really great on film. Yeah. He was playing against the twos. Quay, when I watched him specifically in this last game against Kansas City, he was getting trucked by Ronald Jones, and he wasn't coming up to the point of contact. He was hitting him at about 3 or 4 yards deep. But I do hope to see some improvement. He's a rookie. Keep in mind with rookies, they're going to make mistakes, guys. You got to be willing to don't get, especially if I'm not a big dynasty person. I joined my first dynasty this year, but it's particularly even in redraft. If you got a deep bench, don't cast them aside. If you got a rookie that had a bad game, they're taking more than 2 weeks, 3 weeks to kind of get over something. Just a little bit of advice, man. Yeah, dude. We're going to have the game of the weeks coming. I'm looking forward to giving you some of those, Mase. Is there anything else you would like to talk about specifically? Just anything football, anything with your life? I know you said you're in the military for 10 years, man. I want to say thank you. We are over here. We support Wounded Warriors on my calendar. We've been members for 2 or 3 years. So, I just want to give a shout out to everybody in the military. Say that we're thankful. My friend just retired that I've played fantasy football with for 12 years. Just retired from the military. He's like, you got to see my beard. I was like, I want to see it, man. So I was like, I want to see it. Grow one. Yeah, I'm the same way. This is like, a week, so I'm just like, yeah. But, I was like, dude, I can't even, he's been so clean shaven ever since I've known him. I was like, dude, yeah, I got to see that. He's a great fantasy mind. I know there's a bunch of fantasy people in the military. It's the way to stay connected. It's the way to kind of be back and talk to people if you are deployed. Man, just anything you want to talk about. The floor is yours, my man.
I just wanted to give you a shout out for being such a good father, doing things for such a good cause, bro. You got great energy, man. We first connected, I think, in that whole mishap that happened when someone was taking money from bets or something like that. I think in the middle of that, because I got duped on that too, but I think we had a connection or something about it, and we had started talking about betting or something, and then it just kind of faded, and then it just came back in. And I'm a firm believer of things happen for a reason, whatever, man. So whatever you're putting down, dude, I'm feeling it. It's awesome, bro. Keep on pushing it, dude.
I really appreciate
from that. Yeah, no problem, man. I really got nothing. Thanks to everyone that supports me and has been with me on this journey and has taken a second to even teach me. And Iggy, dude, if you got time at any point during the season, I'd like to sit down. If you're looking at Packers and just break down their scheme to me and stuff like that, dude, I'd just be like a sponge. I'd love to hear it because with all the defensive changes and with, Kyle Shanahan's offense, for instance, you have 2 or 3 motions like it's arena football now, bro. Before the snap even goes off, you'll have them break out of the huddle. Tight ends will come in, and then you'll have the X guy motion, and then the running back will go to the outside, and then you call hike. So it's like, okay, so am I really identifying cover 3? Are they in man? What's going on? Why is he taking this many? So it's just kind of things like that I like. And if you're sitting down breaking film, then I'd love to be a part of that.
Absolutely, man. I'd love for you to be a part of that. Like I said, make sure you go follow him, Cali King 49 or 17, man, and go give him a look. There's always content. He's putting out a lot of information. Go check out IDP Army, guys. Totally love those guys. Support them. Just bringing it back to Fantasy Football Sevens. I sent out an email if you didn't get a chance to donate. People have reached out to me if they can't. That's awesome. If you can, please go do it. We're not at our goal yet. I do want everybody to try to, help us get to that goal. It's not my goal. It's our collective goal. But it doesn't matter. Whatever we raise, not this Sunday, 9/11. We're going to donate that to the UK charity, one to the USA charity. I'm going to do it live on my other show, Betting with Big Amo, on Sundays. But, keep that in mind if you haven't donated. You're going to get a game of the week. Check your lineups, guys. You can make roster moves. You can drop people. You can add people. You can put people on the IR. They could be out. They could be suspended. They could be PUP. You could do all those people on the hour, utilize those spots. You got to take advantage of everything you get in fantasy football, not just this league, your other leagues, man. Set up your roster, do a little bit of research, who chucked these 53. Example, Tyler Goodson, man. I was like, man, this guy's great out of Iowa, running back. Thought for sure he would be on the team. They cut him, probably going to keep him on the practice squad. He looked so good to me. But he did make some rookie errors, dropped a kick, so forth. But you got to stay pertinent on these information. If you want to win, it takes effort. You know what I'm saying? If you really want to win at this, you got to put in the effort. It's just like anything else, particularly in these 16-team leagues. You're not just going to waltz your way into a championship. You're not going to just luck your way or back your way in. You got to stay active, dude. I want to say thank you, Joshua Edwards. Awesome for the comments, man. Got to keep the dreads, man. 15 years. But just to bring it back, check your lineups, guys. Let's keep it competitive. Let's keep it fun. It is all for charity, but you do get a chance. Like I said, you get the tie-dye jersey or tie-dye shirt. I make these myself. You're going to get a IDP. Got to be IDP. I'm going to buy you any jersey you want. A card break. You're going to get stickers from me. I'm working on talking with the Trophy Smack guys. Maybe I can get a ring or something this year. It's going to be well worth the package. Plus the bragging rights that you crushed 95 other people. That alone, it kind of puts you in the excellence of execution realm up here with my man, Bret Hart. All right, guys, keep it real, keep it love. Tell somebody you love them today. Give somebody a hug today. Let's have a great week. We've only got about a week away from some live football, watching Super Bowl champs versus the AFC hot favorites. Let's keep in touch, Mase. Go follow Mase if you haven't already. Follow me. Go follow the Patreon. I'm going to be having all my written articles there. 100% free. 100% free written articles. Go there. At the tiers, you want to look at your fantasy team. You want to talk about betting. Those are the tiers you got to pay for. But all the articles are always 100% free. Mase, I really appreciate you, man. We're going to have to get you back on the show. We're going to have to do some more collaboration. I had a lot of great times with you.
Yes. Thank you so much, bro. I appreciate you.
All right, man. Y'all have a great day, everybody, and I will see you later.